Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about High Concept 2. This is a re-upload because my static kind of figured out a better strat to handle the flexes, quote unquote flexes for the towers. But I mean, if you don't know how any of that works, it's okay. I'm just going to record the video completely from scratch again. Um, but yeah. So we're going to be using Rinon's guide here. I think it's one of the best videos out right now still. And he has a really good little diagram that I wanted to use. It's a little bit misleading, so I'm going to show you guys exactly like how I made sense of it. And yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So High Concept 2 is very similar to High Concept 1, almost a little too similar sometimes, because a lot of the concepts are exactly the same. You might actually get confused and think you're doing High Concept 1 at the same time. So just be cognizant about it and turn your brains on while you do the mechanic. So, for the most part, let's talk about the categories of debuffs once again, just like High Concept 1. So, there are 3 short alpha, beta, gammas, just like in High Concept 1. They're going to do the exact same thing, by the way. They're going to go to their respective corner, short alpha at corner A, short beta at corner B, and short gamma at corner C if you have the same markers that we do. And there's going to be another category of unmarked players, and the unmarked players literally do not have any debuff at all whatsoever. And I want to show you guys that, like, represented with an actual image here from our VOD. So as you can see, I have a short alpha, there's a short gamma here, there's a short beta here. You can see that there are 2 people, Secksy Gamer and Garbage Healer, who have no debuff at all whatsoever. So they are the people who are going to be right here, right next to the short alpha. They're going to be in the corner just chilling there. They're going to be just doing something else. So going back to this, now I want to talk about the long debuff people. Now the long debuffs are probably the harder part of this mechanic. Let me show you what it looks like. So the long debuffs are going to potentially get a splice as well as a long debuff. Only the long debuff people can get a splice, by the way. So you're going to see, like for example, our tank here has a red splice. Our caster, Altani's, has a yellow splice as well as her long debuff, and Spicy Boyfriend only has a long debuff without a splice. Does that make sense? So what the heck do you do and how does it work? Well, it's very, very simple. If you are a long debuff and you have a red splice, prioritize your red splice by simply going to this spot right here. It's a single stack, it's a solo stack as you can see, there's only one person there. And if you have the yellow splice, which is a double man stack, double person stack, you're going to be going right here. So you might be asking, well, okay, if I have red splice, I'm going here. If I have yellow splice, I'm going here, but who the heck goes here? Really easy. It's the person who also has long debuff, but no splice. So does that make sense? Only the people who have long debuffs are going to be getting splices, red going here, and if you do not have red, just go here. It's really that simple, binary thinking, right? All right, so yeah, that's pretty much it for the initial positions. We have the shorts, we have the unmarked people with no debuffs, and we have the long debuffs who potentially might get these stacks or splices as well, okay? Well, they always get splices, it's just, you know, which one of the long debuffs gets it is random. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, I want to go ahead and show you guys what this actually looks like. So High Concept is being casted. This is my POV from our most recent reclear. I have short alpha, so I'm going to be shielding and healing as necessary because you do need people to be topped. I get to my corner right here, I blow up, and then we get elements and stuff all over again, just like we did in High Concept 1. 3 people are going to be getting their sets of debuffs, but before we get into that, I want to just look at this one more time and look over the people who are stacking with their, like, the splices. I just want to show you guys those as well. Okay, so once again, I have my short debuff. I want to look at other people right now. When you're actually doing this mechanic, obviously, do not look at other people. Just do your own thing. Okay. So looking at this, you see Secksy Gamer and Garbage Healer do not have a debuff. So they're right here. They're just chilling right next to me at A, just like the diagram. And over here you have Mocha, who has a red splice. He's prioritizing going to this red 1 marker. So if you have the same marker as we do, you would be on the red marker here. It's just a solo stack. You just go there by yourself and spread. And if you do not have that red splice and you are a long debuff, you just simply go here. Honestly, you don't even need to know if you're yellow splice. As long as you're yellow debuff and you don't have a red splice, you just go here. Makes sense? 2 people here, 1 person there. There's gonna be 2 people right here unmarked, and all the corners A, B, C have their own individual spots because they're short alpha, beta, gammas. Okay, cool. So that should make sense to you guys. The next part of this mechanic is literally exactly the same as high concept 1. There's nothing that's different. So I'm going to reiterate for you just in case you forgot. There's going to be 3 people, the short alpha, beta, gammas. They are going to get their 3 sets of debuffs. You're only going to look at the debuff that corresponds with this tower. So in this case, I do not have the purple debuff here, or purple element that corresponds with this tower. So that means I am unused. But one thing I didn't explain properly, or well, I guess I changed in this time around, I don't want the unused the unused mixed person to go back to their marker. So initially, like in high concept 1, we have the unused person, the unmixed person, they go back to their respective corner. So in my case it would be A, but I don't want you to do that anymore. That's not what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it even more easier and super brain dead, but I'll tell you guys what they do afterwards. First, I want to just reiterate and go over the towers really quick just in case you forgot. So just like in high concept 1, 2 people are going to get the exact same elements that corresponds with these towers. They're going to meet in the middle, pre-position just slightly north and slightly south so that they can see which tower they're going to take. And you have to remember which tower you took, by the way, because of a later mechanic. But yeah, let's just go over the video so you can see what happens. Make sure you do get closer to the center, by the way, because you want to get shields, you want to get heals and stuff. And that's basically it. Those people just mixed. As you can see, we're simply looking at the mixers right now. This person and this person, they're mixing. They pre-position slightly north, slightly south. They both take their towers. And at the same time, just like in high concept 1, there is going to be a half map cleave. And so you're just going to want to dodge that. And everyone has to respect that, obviously. Okay, so I only talked about the towers. I know there's a lot of other things that happened at the same time. So I'm going to show you exactly what happens. Okay, so we're going to be moving on. I want to talk about the people who are not marked right now. So Secksy Gamer and Garbage Healer, they both got a debuff, right? And it doesn't matter what they get. The element, it doesn't matter. What matters is that they did not have a debuff initially, right? So what we have them do is we have them come over here very close to D, and we have them mix, because these 2 people are always going to mix to create Ifrit. And Ifrit is this thing, it happens every single time, and you are going to be getting a really powerful dot on you. So whoever does get the Ifrit dot healers, you need to be paying attention to them. Make sure you pop in those regens, shields, whatever you have to, solo single target shields on them, because they will die, especially if they are not a tank. And they're just getting ticked for a lot without gear. Okay, so that is that for the Ifrits. I guess I'll talk about one last thing about them before we move on. So the Ifrits are going to be taking ads later in the phase. So I want you guys to just know this beforehand, that you should pre-position. As you can see here, you can't really see it as well in the POV, but one of the Ifrits is going to, well, okay, so this is better. Both the Ifrits are going to come to this little square after mixing, and you are going to pre-position yourself physically on the square, left and right, facing north, right? So one person's going to go to the west side and one person is going to go to the east side of this little square. And what that does is it helps you pre-position without any need for communication, and it tells you which side you're going to take for a later mechanic. So I just wanted to point that out before we continue. Okay, so now we have the Ifrits out of the way. We have the 2 tower people two tower people who mixed out of the way, and now the last people left are the long debuffs, which is, you know, brain dead easy. If you're long debuff, you just go to your respective corner, right? Long A is going to go to A, long B is going to go to corner B, and long C, or long gamma, is going to go to their corner C right there. And that's it for them. I don't think we have to explain that too much. But the unmixed person, this is where this quote-unquote new strat comes in. So remember how I told you earlier that if you do not mix, you don't go back to your marker anymore. That's not a thing. What we're going to do instead is we're going to have the unmixed person, which is me in this case, go to this little area right here. You can just kind of hang out. Don't try not to mix with anyone, obviously, but just kind of hang out. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'll show you the exact snapshots and stuff you can look at. So yeah, okay, towers get soaked. Now I just want you to pay attention to my positioning here. This is where I want you to be every time. It doesn't matter who you are, as long as you are not mixing, you're gonna come over here after dodging the cleave as well, obviously. So watch this. I want you to very carefully pay attention to these explodies. See how big this is? They're really, really massive. But the thing is, you have so much room to be. Take a look at all this. This is all your safe spot, right? Because the people who are Ifrits, they're going to be standing east and west of this little square right here. Maybe we can do it in a different color, actually. They're going to be standing in this square, east and west, right? So you have a lot of room to just kind of chill. And so what I recommend, especially if you are a healer, to pre-position yourself very close to the center so that when you are taking your ads later, if you are taking ads or if you're taking your towers later, you are going to be already in position basically to get to where you need to go. So this is what's going to happen. So take a look. Now there are going to be 4 towers. This is the second set of towers. There's going to be 4 of them, and they're going to be 2 different elements. So in this scenario, we have 2 wind and 2 blues, okay? Or 2 waters, whatever. And they can be in different formations, by the way. Like, for example, the winds could be right here and right here. They could be 1 wind right here, 1 wind right here. But it ends up not actually mattering in the end because of how we do this prio system. And this is really cool. I actually have a diagram that I wanted to show you guys. Give me a sec. Okay, so I was able to find the diagram that we used for my group. So it's honestly really easy for these 4 towers. I hope I already explained how the towers work, but if I didn't, so basically you are going to be planting yourselves right here and right here, east and west, to essentially just mix, and depending on what color or element you end up getting, you are going to take your respective tower. So it's really easy. It's just the same stuff. It's very similar to how the 4 towers worked in High Concept 1, but instead of being in a line, they are slightly moved and shifted on to make this like 4 square kind of thing. Anyway, but yeah, so the basic concept is exactly the same. You're just going to be mixing with a partner, and you don't have to look at who you're going to be with. All you have to do is simply pre-position yourself. So where do you pre-position exactly? And I'll tell you, it's actually super, super easy. So you can see here, long A and long B are both going to mix here east, right? They're going to mix east. And long C is going to mix here west, with the person who did not mix initially. So remember how when we were first taking those 2 towers, 2 people ended up coming here and mixing, and they took those 2 towers, and 1 person in my previous VOD that I was showing you, the previous POV, that was me. I was not mixing, so I'm going to come straight over here, and I can just pre-position myself and wait for my long C partner to come over here with me. That's it. There's nothing else to it. It's super brain dead. There's no flexing. It's static positions. Long A will always come here. Long B will always meet them here, and they're going to mix. Long C is going to be here along with the unmixed person previously, and they're just going to plant themselves there, anchor there, mix. They're going to pre-position slightly north, slightly south to take the elements that correspond with whatever debuff or element that they get. And that's basically it. So yeah, let's say for example in this little POV, these 2 people get blue, right? So because this healer is closer to this south, they're going to be taking whatever blue is down here, which in this case is here, and this blue is going to be coming over here because they're, in the north set of the square. Okay, but in my POV, there's something a little different, okay? You're going to see how both of these elemental towers are actually right next to each other. In this case, you might want to flex just slightly and just be like a little bit left or right. So as you can see, Ashe could be like slightly over here, and whoever's mixing with me can be slightly over here, and then I would take this one, and then they would take this one. In this POV, we kind of just YOLO'd it, and it was pretty easy regardless. We were both about to go there, but I adjusted for her, and that's really it. You just take the tower that you're supposed to be taking based off the element, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to show you guys one more time so you can see. So because I was unused, I'm going to be planting myself right here. And I don't have to worry about anybody else. I'm not even looking at them. They're just going to end up coming here with me because of the prio system. Long A and long B end up coming over here. It just works out. It's crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much how that works. You take your respective tower, you have plenty of time to do so, and that's it for the towers. Okay, so now I want to talk about all these beams that you can see in this background. They're like hitting the edges of the stage. Those are the ads. So the people who took the initial first two towers, as well as the Ifrit people, they are going to be the ones who are handling these 4 ads on the cardinals of the stage. So let's see if I can show you guys that really quick. Let me just go back. Let's focus on that now. Okay, so boom, you can see how there are 4 ads, 1, 2, 3, and there's one behind us you can't see, unfortunately, but yeah, this one's north, this one's always going to be east, this one's always going to be south, this one's always going to be west, behind us, you can't see it. And so now you might be asking, who the heck is going to take these towers? Okay, well, it's really, really easy. All you're going to do is, remember initially when I told you guys about the Ifrits, I told you guys to slightly pre-position yourselves on this square right here. So you're going to be pre-positioning yourselves as an Ifrit on this square. So as you can see, Garbage Healer is slightly more to the west, and this guy, the tank, is slightly more to the east. So as you can see, Garbage Healer is going to go east, and the tank is always going to go west. Well, not always, but I mean, just based off where they're positioning, that's where they're going to go. That's the whole reason why we position here, so that we can see what ads we're going to take. Now, for the tower people, the people who took towers, remember I told you to remember that you actually are taking towers. The person who took the north tower is going to take the north ad. The person who took the south tower is going to take the south ad. So that leaves only the 2 Ifrits who pre-position left and right. The person who's west gets the west ad. The person who's right gets the right ad, the east ad. Okay, does that make sense? The prize system is super, super easy. So now that you know that, now all you have to know is what the movement is to actually handle your ad. So as you can see, I want to show you guys one more time. So actually it's, oh yeah, right, Sexy Gamer was the one who's gonna go east, and Garbage Healer is the one who's gonna go west. And these 2 people, the tower people, they don't have to pre-position. I said that in the last video, but actually that wasn't important. You don't need to pre-position yourself. Just remember that you took the north and south tower respectively and take that ad. Okay, done. Let's go. So let's see what they do. I want to actually look at Renon's POV because I think he has a really good one here. So I want to show you him. Okay, so he's mixing right now. This is the 2 initial towers. He's about to mix because he has the corresponding color. He's dodging the cleave. So he's going to be the north ad. Do you see how that works? Because he is north tower, he's going to be the north ad. The person who took the south tower, they're going to be the south ad. No ifs, ands, or buts allowed. And that's really it. But here's the thing. I want you guys to realize how much more room that they had. And this is actually important because a lot of times what would happen is the people, especially the healers, who are trying to get in a few heals before they get to their ads or their towers, they end up getting there too slow because of whatever reason, and they're like too far away. So it ends up wiping us simply because they didn't position well enough. So if you are a tower, do yourself a favor and stand a little bit closer. I know this is week 1, but now we know better. So just, you can stand a lot closer, as you can see, honestly, in the center. And once people resolve their, big blast mechanics, once those like long debuffs resolve, come closer to the center, get your heals and shields out quickly, and move out to your ads, your east, west, south, north, whatever the heck ad that you had. Make sure you go to them after getting heals and shields. And make sure you're also paying attention to the effort people because they're still taking dot ticks if you have not already shielded them already. Okay, so let's see how Renon goes ahead and does this. So Renon's going to move to the center to try to get a few heals and shields. Right, you don't have to fully top everyone. The regen healer is going to take most of the burst healing here, but aside from that, yeah. Okay, so as you can see, this is how the ad themselves actually works. The ad is proximity based, so they are going to attach to, as you can see, there's like a targeting debuff. They're going to attach to the person who's closest to them. So if you're too slow, you're going to wipe everyone. All of HC2 has to be done perfectly. So yeah, proximity base, tether, and they're going to shoot a beam based off the way they are facing, not the way that the tether is pointed. So if you get tethered and you point your tether out this way, it's not going to make the beam go that way. That's not how that works. You physically have to move your character away from the party so that they don't, so that this beam that always shoots out in front of them, like a relative north from the ad, it doesn't cleave anyone else. Okay, does that make sense? All right. So as you can see, he's moving in this like L motion like this. And he ends up getting stunned right here because you can't move anymore. And that's how you handle the tether. It's actually really easy, but I just want to make sure you guys understand the nuances because it can be a little nerve-wracking the first time you see it. So you're right here, you slightly curve in clockwise. Everyone is going to do the exact same movement, and that's really it. So let's take a look one more time. I want to show you guys the exact movement for this because I know a lot of people want to do this like sharp turn, but really don't do this. Try and cut this way rather than going this far because you get stunned. If you're too slow, this is a longer movement than this is, so you might be too late. And the whole point, like the whole reason why we go there is to drag the ad as well. And then we move one square up so that you don't get beamed from the other ad who's also beaming this way. Okay, let me show you this in the POV a little bit better. Okay, so he curves in, he makes that little L formation just like everyone else. Boom, the beam goes off. As you can see, if Rinon was standing right here, this ad would have beamed his ass all the way to death. So yeah, that's the reason why he had to make this pattern right here. And as you can see, everyone else did the exact same thing. So there was an ad here. The person took their ad, they got tethered, and they moved this way clockwise. It's always a clockwise motion. So the ad south ended up doing this. The ad west ended up doing this motion. You can probably see where I'm going from there. All right, so that's pretty much it for the ads. Everyone, as you can see, like most people don't really take that much damage, but as long as they're, you know, mitigated, shielded just slightly, it'll be okay. We also have a lot of gear because the fight's kind of old now, but anyway, let's go ahead and finally talk about the last part about this mechanic, which is the secret, I guess, Phoenix mechanic. So you're going to take these towers, you're taking your ads, you're dragging them across, right? Super easy stuff. And now the final mechanic is where Ifrit and Wind, I don't know if I said this before, but there's always going to be 2 wind towers, by the way. And so those 2 wind elements are always going to end up mixing with a fire Ifrit debuff. So plant yourselves east and west, just over here, closer to the group, because the healers have to heal you. Because, yeah, if you're not healed to full, when Ego Death is being cast, you will wipe, or die, I guess. You won't wipe. I actually did clear with this, with a death here, so... yeah, so as you can see, the Ifrit and Wind, they meet up, and they are mixing with each other. And at the same time, the healers are popping all their heals. Shields do not count, so don't shield, just heal. So your suckers and your creation diagnosis, whatever the heck it's called, it's not going to be useful unless you pop Pepsis. Pepsis is actually useful in this fight, guys. Oh my god. But yeah, pop your Numas, whatever you have to do, and heal everybody up. One thing for healers, you can look at the HP bar on the field. If that HP bar is showing, that means they're not topped off. As you can see, I don't have my HP bar showing, so I'm topped off. So don't look at the party list here. That actually debated me once. Look at the field. If there are HP bars, that means they're not fully healed. Spam heals as much as you can, because if they are not fully healed, by the time this AoE goes off on Ego Death, is about to go up in like 3, 2, 1. Boom. If they are not fully healed there, shields not included, those people will wipe. Well, sorry, they will die. They won't wipe the group. They won't end up getting this like super powerful double damage debuff thing, or buff, I guess you could say. But yeah, you end up popping your pots on your second or first GCE, I believe, and yeah, it should be pretty easy from there. That's pretty much it about High Concept 2. If you guys have any questions or any comments, let me know. But yeah, okay. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.